Hi everyone, my name is Mason Holler and I lead the recreational walks and fitness hikes with the Y. For all of my regular walkers and hikers, I miss you very much. And many of you might not be aware that the Y has a hike program. And you have found yourself out on the trail for the first time during this pandemic. And it's a little tricky out there right now. It's very crowded. So I thought you might all appreciate some general hiking tips and also some tips that are specific to hiking during a pandemic, where we still have to practice social distancing. So here you go. A few tips from someone who's been hiking in the area for over 15 years. First of all, do some research before you leave the house. A lot of the parks have limited hours right now and limited parking. So you may want to come up with a plan A and a plan B and a plan C before you leave. If you can avoid the weekends, I recommend it. The weekdays are much quieter. But I know that's not possible for everyone. So if you do go on the weekends, if you leave the house before 9 o'clock in the morning, I recommend it. Even late in the day, it's really nice. That might help you avoid some of those crowds. All right, the facilities at almost all of the hike locations in the area are closed. So go to the bathroom before you leave the house. When you get to the trails, stay on the trail. First of all, you don't want to get lost, so stay on the trail. Secondly, assume that there is poison ivy out there off the trail. It comes up right to the edge of the trail. If you don't know what poison ivy looks like, you might want to Google it before you leave. And just assume that it's out there, so be careful. Stay on the trail for that reason only. Secondly, there are ticks right now, especially in the warmer weather. We get more ticks, and they are common in this area. You're more likely to get a tick if you are off trail. So another good reason to stay on the trail. When you're out on the trail, leave no trace. I've seen more garbage than ever before on the trails, and it's a little discouraging. In fact, the next time I go out, I'm gonna bring a pair of surgical gloves and a little garbage bag to pick up some of the trash. There aren't as many maintenance workers out there doing cleanup, and we can all do our part. So let's do that. Let's just make sure you don't leave a protein bar wrapper or a tissue out on the trail. Let's talk about the specifics on what you need to bring with you. All right, let's talk about the face covering. We still need to wear face covering on the trail to make other hikers comfortable when they pass us. So you can wear your favorite face mask that you wear at the grocery store. That works. Two other good options are a basic bandana, or what I'm wearing right now is something called a buff. I love my buff. A buff is an item that I wear almost all year round when I hike because it covers my face when it's windy or cold. It's really handy when we need to cover our nose and face right now. So you just pull it up, cover your nose, and then you can quickly pull it down. Just like that. And then it pulls down easily, and it's very comfortable and light. So it's a handy item. You can get a buff at many different locations. You can order one from rei.com, ems.com, buffusa.com. I know that REI is doing, you can order and pick up right outside their location on Route 10. But if you are purchasing a few supplies, this is a good item to have, but it's not necessary. Let's see, buff. Okay, you want to make sure you know where you're going when you're on the trail. So, very important, you want to bring maps. You can print maps off of most of the park websites. You can order maps if you have time. I like to carry 2 maps with me. One I carry in a convenient pocket that I can access at all times, and I keep an extra map with me in my pack. That way, if my first map blows away in the wind, or I leave it on a rock at a rest stop, I still have an extra map. Another really good backup system is your phone, and there's a really good app called All Trails. So alltrails.com, just download the free app, and it allows you to track yourself with GPS. So you always know where you are. Sometimes phones run out of batteries. Make sure yours is fully charged before you leave. Don't rely solely on GPS. Make sure you have paper maps. It's really important because there's nothing worse than That panicky feeling when you're out on the trail and you don't remember which way to turn. All right, so you've got your buff, you've got your maps. Let's talk about the rest of your provisions. Water. Bring more water than you think you need. It's a terrible feeling to run out of water. And even if you don't drink it all, that's okay. If you do run out of water, you're not gonna die of thirst, but a few extra bottles won't hurt. And I recommend that when you bring your water, do not recommend walking with a water bottle in your hand. And the reason I say this is the area that we live in, the trails around here are really rocky and uneven, lots of roots, lots of rocks. And when you walk and hike with a water bottle in one hand, it sets you a little off balance. So all you need is a very simple book pack, backpack, or even something simple like a drawstring sports bag to carry your water and some other snacks. So not in your hand, and something simple that you can carry it on your back. Here's my backpack. And I've had this for a long time. You don't need anything this fancy, but it's a good investment. All right, so water and snacks. You might want to bring a variety of snacks. I like to carry a few protein bars with me, maybe some nuts, a sandwich. Did anybody tell you peanut butter and jelly? It tastes even better on the trail. Everything tastes better on the trail. So a few snacks. This is a really good tip. This is a Mason tip. If you are hiking with your family and you have children, something that I used to do to keep my kids really happy is I would give them their own little pack that they could wear, even if it's their school backpack, that works, or a little pouch around their waist, and they carry their own supplies, their own water, their own snacks. It makes it a little bit more of an adventure when they have their own provisions on the trail, and makes them feel very important. And you might even give them a copy of the map so they can lead the hike sometimes, make them feel in charge. It makes the whole outing a little bit more adventurous. So I recommend that. And then we're talking about footwear and what to wear. I do not recommend, if you can avoid it, just plain old sneakers. They're okay in a pinch, but sneakers can be very slippery on the rocks and roots in this area. So if you have a pair of hiking shoes, fantastic. This is a great time to invest in a pair of hiking shoes. You can get, like here, mine. You can see they've had a lot of wear and tear. I got mine at REI locally. You can order them. Even DSW has a great selection of hiking shoes and boots. Something light is all you need around here. And I would get them in 1/2 to 1 whole size larger than your regular size. Your feet will swell a little bit when you're hiking. Socks. No cotton socks if you can avoid it. Any synthetic sock or hiking sock or athletic sock, as long as it's synthetic, is fine. Cotton socks often cause blisters when you're on the trail. And speaking of blisters, let's talk about first aid. All right, so in general, someone in your group should carry a first aid kit. You can get a first aid kit at any of the local pharmacies. This is mine. It weighs less than a pound. It has gauze, surgical gloves, some antiseptic wipes, Band-Aids, and such. And I keep it in the bottom of my pack at all times. But I also carry a few other extra supplies that are a little bit more handy. And it seems that every time I go out, somebody is getting a blister. So there's something called moleskin that you can buy at the local pharmacies, and it usually comes in large sheets. So what I do, this is another Mason tip, I cut my moleskin in small pieces. A couple different sizes, a couple different thicknesses, pre-cut in a little Ziploc bag that I can access easily. And better than a Band-Aid. Band-Aids often will slip right off your heel. So the minute someone starts to complain about a sore foot or a sore toe or a sore heel, you can whip out your moleskin squares and you just peel off the back and place it right on the skin, and it works really, really well. I also keep some pain reliever, some duct tape, a few other little items in my second first aid kit. Oh, bug spray. Bug spray is really important too. You know, you can get bug spray in so many different forms. I like the bug spray wipes or a small spray bottle. Important to have, especially now that we're getting into the warmer weather and it gets a little bit more buggy. Another good item to have with you, even if you put on sunscreen before you leave, bring a little extra, can't hurt. And let's see. Okay, a couple of other items that you should carry with you in that small pack would be a lightweight shirt that's long sleeve. It's often cool in the morning, and something light is nice to have that's long sleeve that you can put in your pack when it warms up a bit. And you know the rule about rain gear. If you don't bring a rain jacket, it's gonna rain. If you bring the rain jacket, probably isn't gonna rain. So carry a rain jacket with you, and you just wanna be prepared. Lastly, a few items that aren't necessary but might give you peace of mind is the bear whistle. So we all know that we live in an area where there are bear sightings. I don't know if you've seen a bear in your yard. I will tell you that I've only seen a bear on the trail once in over 15 years. But I do carry a bear whistle with me. And I've never used my bear whistle, but I'm happy I have it. The only time I saw a bear was at early in the morning on a sunrise hike. There's so many people out on the trail. The bear really don't want to interact with us. But if you did come across a bear, just know in general that don't look the bear in the eye, don't run away fast, back up slowly, and make sure the bear has an exit. And make a lot of noise, gather together, put your hands up, shout a little bit, use your bear whistle if you feel like it. But chances are you won't run into a bear. It always feels good to be prepared though. And another item that is optional is hiking poles. I love my hiking poles. I've had them for years. One hiking pole or two. And the reason I like them is it's very rocky and the terrain around here is very uneven. And after a long hike, especially if it's very hilly, I'm so happy to have these poles. They help me get up and down those hills, and your knees are a lot happier at the end of a hike if you've been using your poles. Not necessary, but it can be really handy. So I think that's covering it. I think you're almost ready. The only other thing I thought I would share with you were some of my local favorite trails. There's so many places to hike, and here's a list of some of the trails that I love in the area. New Jersey Audubon in Bernardsville is lovely. It's hilly, or there's a beautiful trail along the stream. Schiff Nature Preserve in Mendham is also beautiful. It has a really great website with a lot of good trail tips. Cooper Grist Mill in Chester. It's near Hacklebarney State Park. Most of you know Hacklebarney, but it gets really crowded there, so I like Cooper Grist Mill. It's a little quieter and it's just beautiful. And then there's Sourland Preserve in Hillsborough. It is quite hilly. It has some really cool rocks. It's a lot of fun. And the Environmental Education Center in Lord Sterling Park in Basking Ridge, it's completely flat. It's a very complex and trail system. So make sure you do some research before you go and look at your map. And but it's really nice back there. Lots of bird life, lots of wildlife. So there you go. I hope that these tips help you on the trail. If you're a little prepared, it will make your trail experience that much more pleasant. And then you'll have a chance to listen to the birds and listen to the stream and see what's blooming and enjoy each other's company, knowing that you're safe and you're comfortable. So have a great time out there. I hope to see you on the trail really soon when we can all be together again. Take care. Bye.